Going back across now to Major General SVP Singh for a quick reaction. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Molly. You see, I was mentioning about the United States, our special strategic partnership with them, and United States having appealed to India, not dictated to India. I'm differentiating the two words because we have stood our ground. We have stood firmly on our feet with broad shoulders, and we have conveyed to the world that our strategic autonomy is there to stay. Pakistan, US perhaps has appealed to us because it is in US interest that South Asia, where India is the pivot, is not at war. They are seeing what is happening in Israel, which is their staunch ally. They are seeing what is happening in Ukraine, which within 100 days the president had expected to get peace. It's not worked out. United States also doesn't want to get into this. With China also, it is shaky. So I think they want to take India along. And it is in this factor which I'm putting across, it is in India's interest also to go along with the United States. It matters to us. It matters very dearly to us because the China factor also can be in our favor. This one point I had to convey. This ceasefire, the government is giving assurance is a very good thing, but I will advise and I will convey, let's be very cautious. Let's take it with a pinch of salt.
All right.
Yes, I can only say sometimes the ceasefire agreements, when it comes, there is a slip between the lip and the cup. It takes place and communication suffers. Maybe that is there, but most unlikely the last part what I'm saying. So thank you very much. I will take your permission to dim it now.
And we thank you for sharing your perspectives at such a sensitive time. We're leaving it there. Thanks very much for your time. Going back across now to Dharmesh Kore, who's been piecing together for us the developments that are coming in at this point. Important to remind our viewers about the inputs about blackouts coming in from different parts and the word coming in from the authorities. It's important to not panic. India is asserting that all is under control. Going back across now to Dharmesh. Dharmesh, what else are you gathering at this point?
Well, Molly, a few areas in Rajasthan have also been put under blackout, Barmer and Jaisalmer, for example. Again, a similar sentiment is being echoed in the state of Rajasthan as well. Civic administration is sending out notifications to ensure that citizens remain inside, especially in the border towns and border villages of areas that share an international border with Pakistan. In Gujarat as well, the area of Kutch, a blackout is going to be implemented after a drone sighting over there. Srinagar, again, we've heard from correspondents earlier in the, just a few minutes ago, drone sighted in Srinagar, sounds of explosion over there. Other parts of Jammu, Udhampur, Kathua as well. Punjab, like I repeated, there are several areas under blackouts. Firozpur, Moga, Pathankot, Buxar, Jalangar, Batala. Again, authorities are saying there is no need to panic. Civic administration has things under control. Armed forces are all hands on deck. They also have things in control at the LOC and also the international border that India shares with Pakistan. So again, we're putting this out to our viewers and to the country's citizens and residents again and again. There is no need to panic, but everybody needs to ensure that all the areas which are being talked about, please ensure that you remain in your homes. Please ensure that you adhere to the blackout. Earlier also, business administrations had been asked for blackouts from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. Those orders still stand in place in several districts, for example, in Ambala and in Panchkula. So businesses are also to adhere to all the civic administration regulations that are being put out, and also by all the residents. Do not step out unless it is absolutely necessary and a situation of emergency. Please keep a few days worth of supplies at home, and please ensure that your government notifications are activated on your mobile. Please ensure you're only following official statements and official websites and handles that are putting out formal information, and please do not give in to any rumors. This is the standard message that is being put out by the government of India, by the state and district administrations across Western India's flank, Molly.
Let's also remind our viewers about the situation that is unfolding. Remember, we have been getting you updates from on the ground in Jammu and Kashmir and different parts of the country. We are also telling you about this statement that's been put out by the Gujarat minister, where he talks about several drones being spotted in the Kutch district, a complete blackout being implemented, and once again urging the people to not panic. We also told you about the statement coming in from DC Amritsar talking about a siren that will sound shortly, and thereafter a blackout will be implemented by way of abundant precaution, and urging the citizens there to stay indoors and away from windows. That's the word coming in. That's the update coming in at this point from Amritsar, and across different parts of the country. We've been telling you about the inputs and the developments that have been coming in at this point. But the common thread that runs through is that only official updates are to be watched out for. Given that it is a sensitive time, there is no need to panic, and only relying on the official information or official instructions coming in from the authorities. Like we just told you, those are some of the statements, and those are some of the updates that have been put out by the authorities or those from the government itself. So that's the update as of now. That's how things are looking at this point in different parts as we piece together for you. Remember, just a short while back, as our correspondent Idris Lone was also getting us a better sense of what things look like in Jammu and Kashmir on the ground, where a blackout has been reported in different parts as well. A blackout has been reported, in fact, in border areas. We're talking about blackout that's been reported in parts like Jaisalmer, Firozpur, Barmer, Rajouri, Arispura, Jammu, just to mention some of the areas where the blackouts have been reported. It is important to remind our viewers to only rely on official information coming in at this point and to not panic. And as we continue to keep a close eye on the latest coming in at this point, we also know in the latest from Srinagar that we are getting inputs of electricity coming back in Srinagar. So that again is a significant development. We've been telling you about what things have looked like on the ground in Jammu and Kashmir. So electricity back in Srinagar is another crucial update that's coming in. And we will be getting in further details on that front from our correspondent on the ground as well. At the same time, a blackout that's been reported in some parts of Rajasthan, a blackout in Jammu and Kashmir, in Jammu, Rajouri, Arispura, just to list out some of the areas where the blackouts have been reported. Blackout in parts of Punjab, Jalandhar, and we also know the blackout in Moga, Pathankot. In fact, India's message at this point, and what we are gathering, is that all is under control. We've been telling you about the drones being sighted in the state of Gujarat as well. That's the word coming in at this point. Going back across now to our correspondent Dharamjot, who's been getting us more details. Dharamjot, what's the latest that you have?
Well, Molly, different districts are now putting out more notifications. I'm currently going to read you out one from Jalangar at the moment. Over there, full blackout has not been implemented. The district administration in Jalangar is saying that street lights are being turned off in some parts of Jalangar as a precautionary measure. The old practice of keeping businesses not open till late is what is still going to be intact. However, a full blackout for all residences has not been implemented at this point. The district authorities are also asking residents again to be calm. They're saying Jalandhar at this point is unaffected. So we need to all remain calm. We need to ensure that all of these SMSs, all of these public information notices that are coming out, these have to be adhered to strictly. As we've just heard, electricity is back in Srinagar. So a lot is going on actively in terms of civic administration, Molly. That is something that I think we need to keep putting out again and again. Civic administration across Jammu and Kashmir, across Punjab, Rajasthan, and parts of Gujarat. These four regions specifically are very actively monitoring what is happening with respect to any kind of situation. and they are tightly coordinating with the armed forces to ensure that no kind of misinformation is getting trickled into the residents and to the normal people of the country. They're ensuring that whatever is happening at the borders, on the basis of that, civic administration is taking due measures to ensure that people stay in as and when it is required. Blackout is implemented only when district administration is actively putting out the notice. So this is where things are standing at the moment. A lot of preventive orders are being put in place. But as of now, Molly, this is where things are at right now. A couple of districts in Rajasthan, as you mentioned, Barmer, for example, where blackout will be implemented. And also for the fact that 4 to 5 districts in Punjab also blackout will be implemented, but some will only see a restrained amount of blackout in terms of street lights being turned off and businesses being asked to shut a little early. But this is where things are right now, Molly.
Absolutely, indeed, Dharmjot. This is Mohammed Saleh here now. We're getting you all the details in terms of what is happening at this moment. According to reports that are coming in, electricity is now reported to be back in Srinagar. And Dharmjot, looking at what is unfolded in just the last 1 hour or so, it is still a developing situation. But do we know at this point of time about the nature of these drones that have obviously come from across the border? Are these drones in the nature of those, unarmed drones that are used more for surveillance or decoys? At this moment, information, has anything been said about this by the authorities?
Well, Saleh, drone sighting has been reported in a few areas, like Kutch we mentioned, for example, where the state government has officially said that there has been a drone sighting also, because of which there will be a blackout which will be implemented given the nature of the situation. But then again, officials are also saying there is no need to panic. Indian armed forces are being able to intercept everything that's coming in from across the LOC or the international border that we're sharing with Pakistan. However, all these notifications are being updated by the minute, Saleh. Like I just said, a few minutes ago, there are some areas that will go under blackout, some which will not have complete blackout. Again, these are all depending on whether or not there have been any drone sightings or any sort of intrusion from the Pakistani side. Jalandhar, for example, remains unaffected at the moment. However, Jalandhar is taking precautionary measures by switching off street lights, and they're ensuring that district administration takes a step-by-step process depending on what the situation is like. Now, there are updates coming in every second, Saleh, so we need to keep reminding our viewers that this is a developing situation. Things are changing every few minutes and every few hours, which is why district administration is putting out information on the basis of what the armed forces is sharing in terms of any kind of activity that is being reported across the LOC or across the international border with Pakistan.
Absolutely, indeed, Dharmjot Kaur. Do continue to stay on with this. This, of course, is the latest in terms of what is happening, where there's a blackout that's been imposed in several areas. There are projectiles that were spotted, and the Indian Army has said that these projectiles are all being taken down. There were multiple drones that have been spotted. There are blackouts that have been imposed. This is what the scene looks like in several of the areas, in the areas adjacent to the line of control. And at this moment, it is not very clear as to what is the objective that is driving the Pakistani military establishment to have resorted to this kind of an attack just in less than 4 hours since the ceasefire came into effect. Remember, the ceasefire came into effect at 1700 hours, and by about 8:30 p.m. it was pretty clear and it was evident that there were drones that had been sighted in several areas along the line of control on the Indian side. Now, Dharmjot, this is at this moment a developing story, so the details at this moment are still very sketchy. But the fact that a ceasefire agreement that had been negotiated by the United States of America, mediated by the United States, has broken down so quickly means that things are really very, very serious. At this point of time, have you heard anything at all from the authorities in terms of what has actually resulted in this? Why is it that we are witnessing drones in less than 3.5 hours since the Pakistanis agreed to a ceasefire?
Well, Saleh, this is a very precarious situation, and I think any kind of speculation at this point is going to be very difficult. Any kind of analysis is going to be very difficult unless we fully understand from the armed forces with respect to what actually went down. Because it's very important for us to be able to bifurcate the fact that there is a diplomatic channel and then there is a military channel. Irrespective of what is going on diplomatically, the military and the armed forces are at all times, under all scenarios, expected to be vigilant and expected to take proportionately measurable actions with respect to any incoming from the other side of the border. So that's one thing. The other thing is, well, there's a history that we have with Pakistan, Saleh, and that has not changed, as unfortunate as that may sound. We can keep going back to the statement that was made by our Foreign Secretary multiple times, Vikram Misri, where he said that, well, this entire escalation did not begin with India taking targeted strikes on terror camps. This began on April 22nd with the Pahalgam terror attack. And so India's response will keep being proportionate and will keep being measured with respect to what the armed forces decide is the best and proportionate act that needs to be taken militarily. But having said that, diplomatic channels can be very active stream, Saleh. What goes on over there need not necessarily translated into what happens militarily between India and Pakistan. That's the call for the government and the Indian armed forces to take at this point.
All right. Do continue to stay on with us, Dharmesh Kore. This, of course, is a developing situation. It's a very volatile situation that now remains to be seen as to how things, of course, pan out, because there are things that are happening as we speak. But this, of course, is the reality in so many of the areas along the line of control at the moment. There is blackout in parts of Rajasthan, parts of Punjab and parts of Jammu and Kashmir that has now been imposed. And we, of course, need to find out more in terms of how things are progressing. Because remember, the ceasefire came into existence at about 5 p.m. local time here in India. And the fact that we are spotting drones in less than 3.5 hours after that ceasefire agreement that was mediated by the Americans is going to raise a number of different questions.